Third POV. With a press of a button, the next video began playing with the death battle music and title. When it comes to the tantalizing femme fatale, these two combatants are the pinnacle of beauty and brawn. Wiz began the video. Not to mention well-endowed. Previously, Midoriya's demonic presence scared the desire and lust for the two deadly females right off the guys, but felt that it wouldn't take long in this video to regain those emotions. After seeing an image of the woman warriors pressing their large assets against each other, they came quicker than they thought. What also came in quickly was the wave of jealous competition and disheartening defeat from the girls' side of the room. Even Momo, Melissa, Nijire, and Itsuka, who all felt and believed their assets were the largest of their group of girls, felt inadequate compared to the two stunning women. And this feeling translated over to their more mature counterparts, the most obvious of which being Mount Lady and Pixie Bob. The two always felt that their looks were a big part of their image and worked meticulously to keep them. Mandalay and Ragdoll could attest to it, recalling how long it usually took Pixie Bob to prepare for the day whenever they went out, either for work or whatever. Speaking of whom, Mandalay only had the tiniest bit of bitterness towards the two ladies on screen but quickly waved off such jealousy as beneath her. Ragdoll and Maruko couldn't give a crap, the former not too stingy on looks and the latter completely confident in her appeal and only cared for her work. Ryukyu and 13 were also on the same boat, with only a subtle look at their bodies saying otherwise. Meanwhile, Midnight looked way more fired up compared to the others. Though not out of jealousy, but rather the spirit of competition on who was the sexiest pro-heroine, something that often was the cause for her and Takayama's rivalry. Now, these two women seemed to challenge her metaphorically thrown, and she looked almost delighted at the challenge. That fiery aura that she exuded was the main cause for many of her male co-workers to inch away. Boomstick chuckled perversely. Ivy Valentine, the sexy dominatrix from Soul Calibur. Boomstick introduced the first fighter. And Dash, the government spy, Black Orchid from Killer Instinct. Boomstick cut was off as he also introduced the second fighter. Sorry, I'm excited. Oh boy. Ojiro sighed, trying to calm down the blush on his cheeks. Looks like Boomstick is going to be extra. Well, Boomstick in this one. You mean perverted, explicit, and annoying. Kyoka groaned out, fully expecting the worst. Speaking of which, she turned her gaze over towards the resident perverts of her class, Mineta and Kaminari, and raised her pan with a threatening glint in her eyes and a suggestive point towards Midoriya. The two got the message and nodded their heads at either-arm-chopping levels of speeds. Kyoka and the other girls were already betting how long the two would last. Well, at least if they get out of hand, Midoriya can always just knock them to the ground again. Chiyu spoke up. Right, Midoriya. Midoriya. Midoriya's lack of an answer prompted for the other girls to see that Midoriya wasn't looking too hot. His blush was bright and burning. His eyes struggled between lingering on the deadly dominatrix and spy and looking away, even to the point where he tried to block most of his face with his hand. Izuku, are you all right? Melissa asked, slightly worried. What? Izuku asked, finally hearing them, shaking his head. Sorry, my mind was elsewhere. We asked if you are okay. Uraraka pressed the question, looking also worried. Oh, well, I'm fine, really. Izuku replied, trying to reply with his best attempt at a smile, which came off forced and twitching. Just a little, hot under the collar, I guess. Must have been something I drank earlier. Izuku's leg was rapidly tapping on the ground. The girls looked to have turned into statues with agape mouths and their horrified expressions shadowed in a comical deadpan. And no, he didn't. But maybe was the thought process behind the sisterhood girls, all coming to a horrifying possibility that Midoriya drank the aphrodisiac coffee. Those possibilities seemed to be getting more and more likely. I'm Wiz and he's Boomstick. Wiz cleared his throat and continued. And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. As the video continued, the girls decided, so nothing seemed amiss, to not immediately pause the video and confront the issue of Midoriya, and instead to let the video continue, but carefully gauge Midoriya's reactions and respond to it accordingly if it just so happened to be true. As Royal Victorian music began playing, the first fighter appeared and, well, the fears and excited expectations of the audience were met. The beautiful, voluptuous body of the adopted aristocrat was shown in very lewd and revealing armor and clothing that served to rev up the engines of the boys and draw bitter glares and embarrassed blushes from the girls. Various outfits were shown on her, but most had a similar design of dark purple, gold-trimmed outfits ranging from dominatrix-styled clothing to a leotard, the most common. These outfits also held a similarly theme of revealing plenty of her fair skin and desirable assets, most prominently her inner and outer hips, thighs and ass, her shoulders, sometimes her slim, perfect waist, and her massive breasts that seemed to strain on every choice of clothing or lack thereof. Another major staple that was prominent throughout every variation are her dazzling purple eyes, short-length silver hair, asymmetrical bangs mostly covering her left eye, red lipstick and eyeshadow, golden armored heels, purple gloves that reached down to her biceps, her left shoulder covered completely in a golden pauldron with claws for a hand, and a red and golden sword that would segment and stretch out into a bladed whip. Steam practically fired from nearly all the noses and ears of the boys. Even Kirishima and Tetsutetsu seemed affected given their bright blushes, something Izuku did not appreciate. Even Bakugo, Todoroki, and Shinso looked affected. The three normally absent-minded teens, when it comes to women and romance, held brightening faces and a strong desire to not look away. These reactions likewise caused grumbling feelings of jealousy in Ibara, Pony, and Yui. Mineta and Kaminari already looked like they devolved into a pair of starving hounds with their drooling mouths. Though the imminent fear of Demon Deku thankfully kept them in check. But for how long? Kyoka also tried to wipe away the small ounce of blood that trickled down her nose, as subtly as possible. Even the adult males were affected, like steam erupting out of Mick's nose as he whistled. Though Endeavor and all might manage to pry their eyes away from the woman's impressive figure, turning their thoughts and desires onto two certain women, one white-haired and the other green-haired. And finally, with Midoriya. He looked like his head had become a tomato. Shit. Calm down, Izu. Midoriya repeated like a mantra in his head, while his head felt increasingly fuzzy and on fire. Behave yourself. You spent all this time berating Mineta for being a perv. Now it's not the time to be a hypocrite and act like him. Though Midoriya felt like it was losing battle with that fuzzy feeling making him sear the images of the woman into his brain. Maybe I should have gone outside with the kids and Mirio. Ivy Valentine. Behave. Ivy declared as she swiped and launched an enemy into the air with her sword, before extending her sword out to pierce them and slam them into ground, only to repeat the same string of attacks. Behave. Oh, I would behave for you any day, lady. Kaminari muttered quietly before clasping his mouth shut, doing his best not to look at Kyoka or Midoriya, afraid they heard and looking would prompt punishment. Left on the doorstep of a London mansion, the infant Isabella was adopted and raised by the noble house of Valentine. Wiz began, showing a classic Victorian-era styled mansion and a family portrait of the Valentine family, including her Ivy herself, still young and innocent. So, she's British nobility, Melissa said, inspecting the younger, more refined Isabella. Hard to believe such a refined-looking and proper lady would grow up to be like someone Miss Midnight would idolize. Momo muttered. I heard that. Midnight shouted. Little did they know she'd grow up to be this deadly dominatrix. Boomstick chuckled, the group practically feeling him rubbing his hands together as they showed an adult image of Ivy with her arms outstretched above her, and another of Ivy swinging her sword around while her massive tits jiggled tantalizingly. Oh, Daddy must be so proud. Can he not make it weirder? Momo pinched the bridge of her nose. I don't think so. Kyoka shook her head. Well, he's dead, so there's that. Was clarified. Background. Full name. Countess Isabella Valentine. Height. 177.8 cm/5 feet 10 inches. Weight. 58 kg/128 pounds. Age. 49. Physically 32. Hometown, London. Daughter of Cervantes. Fighting style, self-taught. Goal, destroy Soul Edge. a dominatrix for no real reason. Both her father and mother died while searching for the legendary Soul Edge, an ordinary sword that after being bathed in blood and hatred eventually turned into the demonic, parasitic, soul-devouring blade it is today. Was explained, showing a massive cleaver of a sword with a demonic red and yellow eye in the middle. Demonic! Ibra exclaimed, looking at the large sword with an eye. She immediately clasped her hands together as if about to pray for protection. A sword that turned into a demon. Sin scratched at his head. After being bathed in blood and hatred. I have to admit, that sounds metal as hell. Kamakiri muttered. Maybe the blood and hatred it was bathed in was related to other demons or mystical creatures or beings. Kirishima proposed an answer. I mean, like an evil wizard was struck by the blade and he put an evil curse on it and the wielder in his last dying breath as revenge. I guess. Tetsutetsu shrugged. All I know is that blade looks awesome. Shame though that her parents died trying to find it. Sato pointed out. Or worse, they did. Kurwaro grimly added. This doomed pursuit left Isabella, or Ivy, as their sole legacy. Wiz continued. Her only remaining parent is her birth father, the pirate Cervantes, who is a zombie. Sometimes. Wiz showed an image of Cervantes, both as a ruggedly handsome silver-haired and bearded pirate draped in crimson and purple garbs, and another with him looking like an undead man, and another him taking off his face to reveal a fiery skull. What appeared between the undead zombie visage and normal appearance? Is that a pirate sword? That's hilt is also a gun. Itsuka questioned. I love that he said her baby daddy was a zombie pirate. And the gun sword is what you asked about. Setsuna chuckled. Well then, good call on the baby dumpster donation. Boomstick commented. Zombie pirates don't make good fathers. Especially demonically influenced, rapist, zombie pirates. Quite the unfortunate origin of her birth. Edshot mentioned. Feeling pity and sympathy for both Ivy and whoever unfortunate soul as the target of Cervantes's horrible actions. Believe me, I know. What? Wiz did a double take. I second that. What? Mina also did a double take. I think perhaps Boomstick is simply making a joking comparison to not having a good father figure in his life. Momo pointed out. Oh, that would explain a lot. Hagakure admitted, finding Boomstick's attributes to be more explainable. Even in his fuzzed state, Midoriya flinched at the mention of bad father figures. His thoughts turning to Hisashi Midoriya, his father in nothing but biology, the father that abandoned him and his mother the first chance he got after he was revealed to be quirkless. This rage and hatred towards his biological father brought his mind back to last night, and his thoughts over All Might, his surrogate father figure, potentially dating his mother, like Thor and Superman dating Jane Foster and Lois Lane. With this train of thought, and the confused feelings associated with it, only served to exacerbate the burning feeling in his head and the shameful and lustful urges and thoughts he was trying desperately to hold back. Ivy also has some awfully great, magic. Boomstick quickly continued the analysis, paying no heed to Wiz's confusion. Magic, alchemy, based, instrumental in creating her snake sword, not typically for combat, used in some special moves. Summoning magic, sphere traps, magic fire, nightmare's hand, a casual paradox critical edge, grand alchemy critical finish, artificial homunculus soul. Her father was a skilled alchemist, and Ivy took up his research to find and destroy Soul Edge. Was revealed. Ivy shown creating an alchemy sigil in the air behind her that trapped her foe in a binding trap of alchemy sigils. Alchemy, huh? Melissa said, cupping her chin. The medieval precursor to chemistry. So, magic chemistry? Mina asked. Sort of. Melissa replied. Alchemy was like, in some cases, a proto-form of chemistry given their similarities to transmuting and changing elements into others, like lead to gold. However, alchemy was based mostly on mystical and spiritual views of reality where chemistry sheds the mysticism with logic, scientific facts, and understanding. I guess alchemy here is more logical and factual than we thought. Satsuna shrugged. Tokoyami, Reiko, and Kowaro all perked up and excited for such a mysterious and oftentimes dark magic to be shown. From magical burning to alchemy bondage, Ivy's got the perfect way to deal with her foes. Boomstick told his perverted joke. So, she can use her alchemy for projectile-based attacks with pyrokinesis and entrapping capabilities with those bondage spells. Uraraka muttered, cringing at saying that last part. She noticed a distinct lack of muttering and scribbling, and turned to see Izuku uncharacteristically, not writing in his notebooks. Deku, Uraraka spoke. Izuku registered her voice and turned to her. Yeah, Uraraka, Deku replied, looking slightly brighter than before. How come you aren't writing this down? Uraraka asked, worried and suspicious. Usually, when something interesting like this is shown, you would write it down and muttering. Oh, I forgot, I guess. Izuku responded, rubbing his neck. I guess I was just feeling a little tired and woozy. Thanks for reminding me, Uraraka. While Izuku shook himself off to quickly write down the info. His response and appearance quickly rang several alarm bells in the sisterhood girls' heads, several now coming to a foregone conclusion. But how did this happen? Momo questioned herself, trying to recall the events that transpired this morning to see how Midoriya could have possibly drunken Mineta's coffee. She taught herself summoning and alchemy rituals, which she used to forge her unique sword, the Valentine. Wiz continued, slightly disturbed. Valentine, snake sword, formerly called Ivy blade. Alternates between sword and whip. Max whip length 9 cm/30 feet. Can use guard impacts. Can perform edge attack. Granted life by soul edge. Critical finish and edge moves. Definitely not for novice swordsmen. Ivy launched her Valentine in a forward thrust, snagging a woman with a shield and sword, dragging her towards the magical dominatrix, thrusting the sword through the woman's stomach, before wrenching it out and tossing her away behind her. Jesus! Mount Lady cursed, rubbing her stomach where the woman was stabbed through. The Valentine is an extendable snake sword with a stupid name. Boomstick said. The Valentine shown in its regular form and in its extended blade whip form. It should have been called Deadly as Fuck, since it works just like a normal sword, but with a flick of Ivy's wrist, it turns into a 9-meter-long whip of blades. Interesting. Ida scratched his chin. A combination of a regular sword for short-range combat, mixed with long combat in its whip form. And it can also entrap and grab onto faraway targets and restrain them. Azui added. And with those blades around the whip, it would incentivize the captured enemy not to move or get slashed or impaled by the blades. Ribbit. That's a rather dark look on it. Uraraka muttered, a sweat drop over her head. I'm liking this woman's style more and more. Midnight licked at her lips, making me want to tango with this bitch more and more. Aizawa, Mike, and the rest of the teachers didn't know what kind of tango Midnight implied. But whatever it was, they agreed that it would be best to be as far away from it as possible if it happened. Surprisingly, or rather unsurprisingly given the circumstances, it was Midoriya who imagined the more naughty tango between Midnight and Ivy, the conjured images in his mind reddening his face more. His solution: continue to hold back the thoughts and slap himself free of the images. It can be used in all sorts of ways, even a stealthy underground attack. Boomstick continued. Ivy sends the Valentine underground and attacks Ezio Auditore with a few rising strikes from underground. Mineta drooled as he watched Ivy perform the underground blade attack, his eyes locking on how Ivy mashed her boobs between her arms, making the jiggling mammaries perk up more. I'm just going to assume that that underground attack only makes sense because of magic, Jiro said. Bingo. Nijire tapped her nose. It is also sentient, with a mind of its own. Wiz stated. Ivy accomplished this by summoning the Hand of Nightmare, which breathed life into the sword. An image of the demon and his stomach mouth shone in all his hideousness. Ibera shivered again at the sight of another demonic creature and mumbled prayers quietly. Wait, hold on. Boomstick jumped up, confused. How does a hand breathe exactly? Of all I've talked about, that is what you question? Wiz questioned incredulously. Boomstick is speaking my language. Kaminari nodded at Boomstick's question. Yeah, the language of idiots. Kyoka replied, causing chuckles from the other students. Anyway, since Nightmare is Soul Edge personified, this ironically joined Ivy's own fate to the very abomination she seeks to destroy. Wiz said. Whoops. So, in her attempts to destroy this Soul Edge, she accidentally bound herself to it. Ryukyu summarized. So, if she destroys it, she could potentially die as well. One who seeks vengeance must dig two graves. One for their enemy and one for themselves. Nizu sagely said. Ida flinched, recalling his own willingness to die if it meant bringing down Stain. I'd like to join Ivy's fate if you know what I'm saying. Boomstick said his not-so-subtle innuendo. Kyoka groaned, face-palming. It never stops, does it? She asks rhetorically. Unlikely, Todoroki replied. This curse bounded Ivy's blood to the immortal Soul Edge so thoroughly. Her body actually stopped aging. Wiz revealed in amazement. Lucky bitch. Pixie Bob muttered bitterly. Oh, come on, you can't complain so much. Mandalay raised an exacerbated eyebrow at her teammate. You yourself brag about how good you still look young for someone in their 30s. I'm 18 at heart. Pixie Bob whined back. Mandalay just groaned and facepalmed. What was it that guys said about us girls being irrational? She thought to herself, finding her teammate a likely poster child for that statement. Actually Wiz, what I think is happening here is that her age is getting stored in her enormous rack. I mean, they just keep getting bigger and bigger as time goes by. Boomstick stated his opinion. 3 separate images of Ivy showing how her massive breasts indeed kept getting bigger and bigger. It was a good thing that Momo had created some napkins before this video, because most definitely needed some for their current nosebleeds. Honestly, with magic and everything, I would not be surprised if that is what is actually happening. Mina muttered, inspecting her and the girl's rather impressive chest. I think she is bigger as you, Yamamo. Please don't start comparing our breast size in public, Mina. Momo blushed, her arms embarrassingly covering her own large tits, only succeeding in making them pop more. The act made Kyoka flinch as she looked down at her own breasts, or lack thereof. She bitterly thought. She felt the touch of something around her legs. She was about to set out her jacks to attack the offending party, only to realize the touching object as Black Whip. Looking over to Midoriya, he looked almost unaware of him activating his own quirk or rubbing her leg comfortingly. Kyoka quickly recalled the previous day with the same thought she had during the Chun-Li vs Mai Shiranui fight, and Izuku's comforting words back then. Even though he is in this state thanks to us, Kyoka thought, guilt gripping her heart. He still finds a way to comfort me, and even unknowingly like it's instinct for him. Kyoka smiled lovingly at Midoriya. What a great guy. Well, you never know with magic. Wiz muttered, shrugging as if used to it. Exactly. Mina nodded in affirmation with Wiz. Ivy is skilled with all her sword's forms, but long-range combat is her bread and butter. Wiz continued. I like to spread my butter all over her enormous, jiggling bread. Mineta's inner pervert demon screamed out. No. Bad Mineta. Remember what those girls and Midoriya will do to you. Mineta's inner angel reminded him. Especially demon mode Midoriya. This time, Angel Mineta won. Real Mineta pinching himself to keep from the greater pain of possible Midoriya retaliation. Little did he know why he felt as if he also missed a great opportunity, unaware of Midoriya barely paying attention to him. She is very good at controlling the battlefield with wide whip swings, powerful kicks, and precision strikes. Wiz explained her fighting style. I mean, let's be honest, who would really want to use that thing as a normal sword? Boomstick asked to the audience. The whip sword combat certainly adds a unique flair to her that makes her stand out. Snipe acknowledged. However, versatility and a range of combat options to choose from would work to trip up foes that know about her and expect and are ready to deal with her. Ectoplasm pointed out. She has spent most of her life seeking and destroying anything remotely related to Soul Edge, innocent or otherwise, which will eventually include herself when all is said and done. Was said. That sounds rather unheroic of her. Mount Lady said. Whoever said that she was a hero, or this world's equivalent of? Izawa replied. For all we know, her actions would label her more a villain or vigilante, or even anti-villain. Sometimes, even those with good and noble causes can be just as, if not more villainous, like M. Bison for instance. All Might frowned at Izawa's words but couldn't find fault in them. He thought to the hero-killer Stain and his goals. To purge the fame and money-hungry, false heroes for a better hero society. On paper, it sounds like a noble goal, especially since Toshinori could concede that their current society does indeed have some bad apples among their hero ranks, and their presence is only serving to tarnish the name of heroes. But when thinking of Stain's methods, they were anything but heroic or noble. Butchering heroes into early retirement, like young Ida's older brother, ingenium or straight murder. Evil acts upon evil people does not make a right. And that's even assuming all of his targets were truly evil, which they weren't given the previous ingenium being nowhere near false or greedy. And the same can be said about this Ivy's destructive pursuit in destroying this demonic sword. Speaking of which, Tsukachi did say that my request to meet with Stain was postponed again. All Might thought back to his conversation with his detective friend, discussing this after the commitment to looking into Kurojiri possibly being Shirakumo. Whether it was the Commission's efforts to silence Stain or Tartaro's stinginess about discussing with such a dangerous villain, All Might could only hope that his chance to speak with a hero killer as soon as possible. But despite having one of Soul Calibur's deadliest movesets, she has a rather spotty win/loss record. Don't they make pads for that? Boomstick asked. Setsuna face-palmed. What does he refer to? Ibra asked, confused. After Setsuna whispered the answer in her ear, Ibra was inflicted with the facepalm virus as well. Known win/loss. W/L, 3/4. Us, Astrath. Us the. Win Songana. Lost Zosalamel. Win Zosalamel rematch. Us, Cervantes. Win Cervantes rematch. Still, she has defeated countless foes and accomplished impressive feats. Wiz continued. Like kicking a point-blank bullet out of the air. Boomstick exclaimed. Ivy kicking away a bullet from her undead pirate father with a swift kick. Damn, that's fast. Impressive speed and flexibility. Shot acknowledged. I could do better. Miruko scoffed, unimpressed. Well, more so insanely accurate instinct. Wiz explained. Presumably, she's using the weight of her above-average-sized breasts as momentum to increase her speed. If that's a real martial art, I'm going to find it and then teach it. Boomstick declared with 100% seriousness. The women of the group all simultaneously prayed for such a thing to never come to fruition, while the men of the group, barring the stoic and respectable type, prayed Boomstick succeed and teach them how to in return. In her quest to find a way to kill the demonic sword, she learns of and searches for the legendary Soul Calibur, the evil blade's polar opposite, for the means to sever her bond with Soul Edge. Wiz told her story, the series' namesake revealed in a various number of forms of the angelic blade. Amazing! Ibera gazed in awe of the angelic blade. For every ing there is a yang, Rin said. I guess if there is going to be a demon sword, an angel sword made to counter seems possible. However, before she could find it, her undead daddy rolled up and attacked her, almost stealing her soul. Boomstick jumping in. But thanks to some weird magic of a homunculus. Wiz told Boomstick the correct pronunciation. Homunca what now? Hagakure questioned. A homunculus is a representation of a small humanoid creature, usually in the form of small clay statues. Reiko responded. They are associated with alchemy as means of hosting or accessing other magics, or creating new, special human beings, though they are but fables and stories. Actually, it is said the fable of the homunculus was the inspiration behind Mary Shelley's novel of Frankenstein. Tokoyami spoke up. Yes, actually. Reiko perked up, pleasantly surprised on the raven-headed teen's knowledge. Johann Conrad Dippel was suggested to have been what was the inspiration of Victor Frankenstein, and his alchemy and homunculus for Frankenstein's monster. Proposed by Professor Radu Florescu. Tokoyami nodded. I must say I am pleasantly surprised about your knowledge revolving homunculus, alchemy, and the old stories. Reiko admitted. I take vested interest in the dark and mysterious. Tokoyami responded. Revelry in the dark. Revelry in the dark. Reiko replied back. I can tell you more about my findings and knowledge, should you be interested. Tokoyami stuttered out, a comical blush over his black feathered head. Reiko's own pale cheeks made her light blush more pronounced. I would be delighted. Reiko agreed. Please let me know of your earliest convenience. After the videos, perhaps. Tokoyami offered. Acceptable. Reiko replied. After they were done, leaving the discussion with blushing faces, they were made aware of the gaping looks of surprise from their fellow students. Mina and Hagakure looked so giddy and excited they looked half ready to explode. Momo, Ajui, and Itsuka giggled at the adorable interaction between the two goths. And Setsuna looked like she was absolutely bawling with pride at her best ghost girl, to Reiko's annoyance. Tokoyami was met with the whispered praises and thumbs up from his classmates, like Kirishima and Tetsu calling him manly, the warning glares of protectiveness from the 1B boys, including a downright hateful and disapproving one from Monoma, and even bawling from Mineta and Kaminari. Though whether the bawling was out of jealousy, pride, or both, Tokoyami did not know. He even had his fellow reveler in the dark, Korwaro, begging him to teach him his ways, in likely pursuit of another's hand. Oh, young love. Ooh, and young goth love at that. Midnight exclaimed, hugging and rubbing her shivering body. So adorable. So stimulating. Bad Midnight. Bad. Nizu declared, disciplining the teacher by spraying her with a water bottle. Midnight would hiss like a cat. What has this even come to? Endeavor grumbled, both astounded and ashamed. Yeah, that. Boomstick exclaimed. She used it to make an artificial soul and continued again for the hunt of the Soul Calibur and Soul Edge, eventually encountering and defeating her old man and watching Soul Edge disappear into a vortex. However, Ivy knew that Soul Edge wasn't destroyed, likely due to her connection to the cursed blade. Wiz explained, and still continues to search for Soul Edge to destroy it once and for all, using everything and everyone at her disposal. You're in need of some discipline, Ivy declares, grabbing onto Natsu and launches her into the air while holding her in place with alchemy. I'll teach you to behave. Ivy the pieces of Valentine in a spinning spiral of death at Natsu, then launching the separate pieces through her one in all directions, before combining them together, slamming her down to the ground, then reattaching them to her sword. Satisfied. It's like I'm looking at a mirror. Mike muttered, looking between Midnight and Ivy. Oh, hush you. Before I discipline you myself. Midnight replied, still slightly angry at the water wetting her hair. Not helping your case, hag. Mount Lady chuckled. What did you say, you little slut? Midnight roared out in anger. It took quite a few minutes to break the two bickering women apart. During that time, the group thought about Ivy, trying to direct their thoughts away from her figure and instead towards her abilities and skills. Her reception was mixed. Some focused and complimented her long-ranged capabilities from her alchemy and Valentine sword. Others were hesitant to root for her given her ruthless and brutal nature. The second fighter, for the sake of their sanity, hoped wasn't as sexual or scandalous as Ivy. Their first impressions on seeing who she was gave the group some hope, but not by much. The next fighter was another voluptuous and beautiful woman, light tan skin, shoulder-length black hair, and oftentimes seen with a yellow band around her forehead. Her outfit, while not as scandalous as Ivy's, was to some ******, as suggestive. The woman wore a green jumpsuit that seemed to hug her fit feminine body like a second layer of skin, so much that many swore they saw the outline of her nipples on her large chest. On the side of the jumpsuit also had, in golden lettering, the word hot along her curvy sides. The jumpsuit also had different versions shown, from versions in black and gold, to how far the jumpsuit covered, either to the top of her thighs or to the point it was a leotard. She also wore green boots and green, forearm-length gloves, adding to attention her weapons being yellow lightsabers, black Orchid, killer combo. An announcer's voice declared as Orchid delivered a flurry of rapid attacks in a 19-hit combo on a blue, burning humanoid creature. "Hold crap!" Mina exclaimed in awe of Orchid. "I think I just found my fighter." "Well, that was fast," Shui said. "Well, I mean, look at how fast and badass that combo was." Mina gestured to the screen. "You said it, Pinky." Miruko replied, likewise pleased. "Looks like this chick is a more martial arts, close combat-based fighter, and I'm all for it." Background. Real name, unknown. Height, 170 centimeters / 5 foot 7 inch. Weight, 56.7 kilograms / 125 lbs. Age 24. Fighting styles, Chinese martial arts, likely Tibetan, half-sister to Yago, secret of government spy, prefers tonfa over lightsabers. The government spy code-named Black Orchid is a complete mystery. Wiz began. Her past, training, and real name are so secret, not even she knows most of it. Huh? Pony tilted her head, confused. How the hell does that work? Boomstick questioned. It could likely mean that she was taken in and trained from such an early age in her life that he has forgotten much of her past life and history. Nizu analyzed. As she is a type of government agent, this is a very likely hypothesis. What we do know is she's a killer, was said. Killer. Killer. Ooh, she's a killer. Music played a short montage of Orchid battling different foes, where she attacked with various flips, spinning kick attacks, often upside down slides and spinning tonfa strikes. Bakugu grinned in satisfaction. "Okay, screw it, I'm voting for this chick. She's baddest. Dang it." Miruko cursed. "Now I want that theme for myself." "Well, you can," Ryukyu suggested. "It's likely not a thing here, and I doubt that even this Orchid knows it's trademarked to her." Miruko looked at her with a raised eyebrow, confused. Ryukyu sighed. "You can probably use it for yourself here." He simplified. "Awesome!" Miruko exclaimed. "Hey, earphone jacks! Send me that song of yours to my phone later." Kyoko was almost about to ask her what she meant. Then she remembered the more than 300 songs that device downloaded into her phone, all relating to the characters and videos, so Orchids must be somewhere in her phone. "Sure," Kyoko responded. Among her limited history, she is confirmed to be the half-sister to Yago, a prominent fighter and warrior monk from Tibet. Wiz revealed. Yago shown beside Orchid. Orchid's origin must share similarities, so she is most likely a practitioner of Chinese martial arts such as Kung Fu. Specifically, Okinawan martial arts to fit with her choice of weapons. Unfa, laser aura. Length, 38 centimeters / 15 in. Short-range weapons. Can emit fire or electricity. For Okinawan martial arts. Originally a handle for grinding grain. Popularized as police nightsticks. Orchid's weapons of choice are heavy Chinese tonfa, made of lasers, Boomstick exclaimed. May and Melissa perked up in their seats at the mention. Apparently whoever she works for has figured out how to make lightsabers, and Orchid wielded these early in her career before upgrading to laser tonfa. Wiz continued. Melissa and May were quick to snatch the distracted Izuku's hand and write up the designs and stats of these laser tonfas, all the while David's shield and power loader side. Izuku blushed scarlet at Melissa's and May's enthusiasm that made them all the more attractive in his lust-struck mind. No, breathe. Relax. Izuku thought repeatedly to tame his inner lust. Stealing his resolve, Izuku just grabbed another notebook from his bag. Tonfa are short and strong, designed for quick damage, perfect for Orchid since she is incredibly skilled in fast, close-range combat. Boomstick jumped back in. Interesting, Momo muttered, inspecting Orchid's fighting style. Izuku, do you mind adding some helpful pieces of information for beginners? Oh, you mean you wish to learn how to use tonfas, Yamamoto? Izuku asked, finding his analysis helping with his sinful thoughts. Well, that would be advantageous of you to use as a weapon in case of more close-quarters combat. While your bow staff fighting is amazing, there will likely be times where you will be fighting in more cramped corridors or faster opponents, so tonfa will be the perfect substitute. Exactly, Momo nodded, blushing at the praise from Midoriya, and analyzing Midoriya to see just badly she and the girls may have screwed up with the aphrodisiac. Her other set of weapons are called TNA. Boomstick continued, showing an image of Orchid with her cleavage exposed as she posed. Cue the sounds of sighs and facepalms. Well, actually, just look at what she's wearing. Boomstick cut was off again as he focused the footage on her tight jumpsuit. It's not like she's trying to hide anything. Man, I wish I was that jumpsuit. Same, Mineta and Kominari muttered. What was that, you idiots? Bakugo perked up, raising his popping hands with a grin. Nothing, sir. Mineta and Kominari straightened up, sealing their mouths shut and quiet. Good, Bakugo growled out. Moves, Tonfa Fire Cat, Flick Flack, Spinning Sword, Lisakan, or Buster. Orchid prefers speed over strength, with quick rapid strikes. Wiz cleared his throat before continuing. Some moves even defy physics, an example of which was Orchid performing a spinning kick attack that seemed to levitate her upwards. The hell? Mount Lady exclaimed. That move is rather similar to Chun-Li's spinning bird kick. Yukio noted. Only this one seems to be more airborne. More like she takes the air. Fat Gum replied, noting Orchid's attack sending her higher and higher in the air with the opponent. Miruko growled. She was already working on the spinning bird kick from Chun-Li, and Orchid demonstrating a similar technique just reinforced her desire to master it, and this one too. What is she, some sort of witch? Boomstick asked. Absolutely. Wiz confirmed, Orchid firing balls of fire from her tonfas and turning into a fiery cat. Orchid's best weapon is her trove of spells. Most useful is the Fire Cat, a transfiguration spell which morphs her body into an intangible feline of flame. So, both Orchid and Ivy share similar magical pyrokinesis, Todoroki muttered. Though, Orchid also adds shape-shifting into her arsenal, and it's intangible, so it can pass through other attacks, such as long-ranged attacks like Ivy's Valentine. Choji pointed out. I wanna pet her, Boomstick cooed. But I can't cause… the burning. Setsuna cracked up with laughter. Okay, that was actually kind of funny, she admitted. And so sadly adorable. Uraraka agreed. No mercies. Chucker, Scorcher, Frog Smash, Heart Attack. She also uses magic in Here No Mercies, finishers which can be used after an enemy is weakened. Wiz continued on. That looks rather familiar to the fatalities from the Mortal Kombat individuals, Toshinori mentioned. Agreed. Endeavor nodded, seeing the similarities too. This world must be as vicious as the other one. When not using her tonfa to incinerate people, she can transform them into a helpless frog. Smash him! Smash him! Yes! Boomstick yelled in satisfaction, watching Orchid turn her foe into a frog, jump, and squash the helpless creature into paste. Rib bit! Azui croaked in dissatisfaction and anger, for obvious reasons. Koda shared in Azui's displeasure at seeing an animal being mercilessly killed, even if the animal was a former person. Thought that actually made it worse for the animal lover. But she has one more weapon in her arsenal. Or rather two, Wiz admitted, zooming into her large bazookas. Her fun bags of destruction, Boomstick exclaimed, the words appearing beside Orchid's image. And you just thought I was being a pig earlier. Wait, they are actual weapons. Pixie Bob questioned, incredulous. But really, whipping out the girls causes an instant heart attack to whoever views them. Boomstick revealed. Excuse me? Ibra questioned. As TJ Combo stood dazed and spinning, Orchid zipped open her vest and reveals her breasts off-screen, to the initial dissatisfaction of the guys, to TJ Combo. WOH TJ cried out before, hand over his heart, fell over dead. Yeah! Orchid celebrated, her slight hopping making her recovered deadly boobs jiggle. Silence. Stunned silence was the only response that most of the group had for such a feat that they had witnessed. Until Mina broke the ice. Hey Minetta, I think I just found a set of boobs we will allow you to see. Mina called out. That certainly broke the ice as everyone proceeded to break down in laughter. Minetta just flipped Mina the bird but couldn't help but crack out a chuckle or two. I now know the way I want to die. Boomstick sighed wistfully. I will admit, it's not the most terrible way to go out. Kaminari admitted. I'm just saying. Bakugu, who was close to aiming an exploding hand at the blonde pervert, slowly lowered it, unable to deny Kaminari's words. I never thought I'd see a set of lethal mammary glands. Riz admitted, with his voice full of fascination of a stunned and in awe scientist, while Orchid performed Heart Attack on Thunder. I'd never thought I would entertain such ridiculousness onto my eyes. Headshot muttered, disbelieving what he was seeing. So, wizards, supersonic hedgehogs, and flying sky ponies you can handle. Even your own 300-foot drop falling, superhuman ninja warrior counterpart. But death boobs that just cross the line for your brain. Miruko questioned, incredulous. Point taken. Shot muttered. But you'd think it'd only work on people, right? No. Boomstick declared. Her super boobs can kill humans, robots, aliens, a dinosaur, and even a walking skeleton who's missing the one bone that matters. As he spoke, every non-human mention was shown staring, gawking, and collapsing in different fetal positions. Ta ha 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 ha. Kamakiri burst out laughing, followed by many of the guys. Wait a second. Koda spoke up. Hatsumi. See, can you rewind it back a little? That's a first, but sure weirdly shaped head guy. May said, rewinding the footage backwards. Stop. There. Koda called out, May stopping and pausing the video upon Koda's instruction. Isn't that Rip Tor? Rip Tor? Melissa questioned. Oh, I see. Ida perked up, looking at the dinosaur fighter that Orchid was flashing her boobs at. Rip Tor was one of the previous fights before you and Mr. Shield joined us. Yeah, it was a cool, acid-spitting dino that can fight like a person. Mina spoke up, remembering that fight before pouting. Shame that he lost falling onto Boomstick's car. Oh, so that was what that was. Melissa said, finding her unspoken confusion about that scene in the previous video answered. Ah, my old counterpart that was sorely defeated by Mr. Koda's counterpart, Yoshi. Nizu perked up at the sight of his counterpart. So, it appears that Ms. Orchid exists within the same universe as my counterpart. And interesting find. There is only one possible explanation for this. Wiz began to explain. An image of a bra and an exploding brain shown. Her breasts must be so impossibly, unnaturally large that no brain can process the shock of seeing them. Even while female brains are immune to the sexual shock, they will grudgingly forfeit out of jealousy. This was demonstrated by Orchid flashing her boobs at herself, who instead of dying, starting huffing and stomping in a fit of jealous rage. Izuku's brain went into overdrive by how red and hot it was. It was practically steaming. His brain went from images of Orchid and her figure to the girls to even Miruko and Lady Nagant that he felt the inner walls holding back his lust breaking down. No, 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 no. Remember what you said to my Netta. Remember how uncomfortable it will make the girls. How wrong it is. Izuku chanted like a mantra, even feeling his partner downstairs surging to life. In a panic, Izuku finally resorted to Plan Z and thought, remember what happened that day? Izuku didn't need to specify as his mind took him right back there. The note in the locker, those false words, the pail of water, the beating, the laughing, gum in his hair, and her venomous, sweetly sick words. "I can't believe you fell for that." She laughed and jeered at him. "Ha ha ha. Who would ever like a useless, quirkless Deku like you? Ah ha ha." The painful memory worked like a charm, the overbearing lustful thoughts vanishing, or at the very least diminishing, the burning in his head lowering. It was at first a relief to have it gone, but then the cruel weight of reality crashed down onto him with a frown. That's right. You know what that day taught you? A dark part of his mind told himself. You are incapable of being loved. You don't deserve to be loved for the freak you are. Who would ever love a quirkless, useless Deku? Izuku didn't have the energy fight back against that voice, or the answer to refute it. Izuku just sucked back in the pain as normal and focused back into the video. He was unaware of Nijire's observative eye on him. Heh, oh, she'll be crying into a tub of ice cream tonight, Boomstick said, pitying the clone Orchid. I mean, I don't think my reaction wouldn't be so different than the guy's. Kyoka admitted in thought, blushing. Maybe a fainting at least. Feats and flaws. Skilled in close-range ultra combos. Won first Killer Instinct tournament. Defeated Idol. Fought Gargos in the past. Self-raised. Pitiful ranged skill. Traded lightsabers for ton for what? Black Orchid entered the first Killer Instinct tournament, a no-holds-barred fighting tournament organized by Ultra Tech, the mega corporation that spans and almost runs the entire globe. Wiz explained. She joined the tournament intent to take down the evil Ultra Tech Corporation from within. It's like that Shinra company from the Link vs. Cloud fight. 13 pointed out. A corporation that runs the entire globe. You're right. Cementus nodded. And much like that world, it seems this company is vile and evil enough to warrant rebellion. Ultra Tech. Mizu repeated the name. If memory serves, that was the same company that created my counterpart, Riptor, as well. While she had some trouble with ranged characters, she eventually defeated the 2,000-year-old. And might I add, cheap as hell demon warlord, Idol, winning her the whole tournament. Boomstick revealed. Suck it, Chun-Li. There's a new strongest woman on Earth now. Those are fighting words, bub. Miruko smiled, yet growled, cracking her knuckles. All the while her fellow pros agreed that Boomstick just fucked up. She was however discovered of her intentions and was targeted by Ultratecha's robot CEO, Arya. Wiz continued her story. Oh, so not only a world-conquering corporation but an AI overlord for good measure, Mike said. Man, that world must suck. Later, disavowed by her own not-so-clearly named or defined organization and labeled a dangerous rogue, Orchid formed her own underground network of spies and agents known as the Disavowed, to sabotage Arya's goals. Boomstick. She eventually grew increasingly volatile, until dear old long-lost half-bro Yago showed up to calm her down. Family is the strong tie that holds you to the ground, Shot wisely said. Izuku perked up at his words, his widening in slight surprise. Wait, he's right. Izuku looked towards his friends around him, from the guys joking and making fun of each other, the teachers and pros looking down on them with pride, all might. His father in all but blood, his mother, back at home, always supportive and caring despite everything. Mirio outside with Kuta and Eri. Children he saved that look at him like an idol to admire, and a father to love, and the girls, especially the girls that makes his heart ache with want with every smile, laugh, and embrace. This is my family, Izuku said with resolve, feeling the cold weight of her words begin to lift, if not just enough. We may bound in blood or not. He thought of All Might and their bond through One for All and beyond, and his mother and him playing hero in the past. And we may have our differences. He remembered his glares at Mineta and Kaminari, his fights with Bakugo and Todoroki, before they changed to him playing games with the two decent perverts and being inspiring rivals to the latter two. But they are my family, the family I chose. He thought of he and Kuta high-fiving and his and Eri's talk and hug last night. A family that loves and cares for me. His thoughts turned to the girls and their hugs, cheek smooches, smiles, hugs, and special nicknames. And that I care and love for too. Together, they resolve to support each other in their individual struggles, regardless of the outcomes. Wiz stated. But with help or not, Orchid is clearly a force to be reckoned with. Orchid was seen unleashing an absolute onslaught of combos and attacks on a large robot with a plume on its head. Ultra A combo. An announcer voice roared at the 37 finishing combo while Orchid cheered in victory. The final combo performed by Orchid only fueled a lot more people to consider voting for Orchid, most especially Miruko and Bakugo, practically salivating at the thought of fighting the assassin and prove who was better. Orchid's reception was less mixed than Ivy's, with her less dubiously shown history painting her better as a hero or anti-hero, and her martial arts skills and feats making her appear the better fighter. Alright, the combatants are set dash. The bazookas are loaded. Boomstick jumped in, perversely excited as both fighters' boobs were shown. Let's end this debate once and for all. Wiz shook it off and continued. It's time for a death batt. Boomstick roared out. With the video paused, and the device scanning for counterparts, the audience voted among themselves, with the obvious exception of Mirio and the kids. For Ivy, her most prominent voters included Midnight, who liked the dominatrix-styled, bladed whip using fighter, Tokoyami, Reiko, and Kurwaro for her alchemy magic Ibra, who liked Ivy's quest to destroy the demonic sword of Soul Edge, Kamakiri, liking her Valentine sword better than Orchid's weaponry, Endeavor for her pyrokinetic magic, and feeling sympathy for her desire to destroy Soul Edge for taking her parents' lives. The desire for vengeance being a main reason why Ida, shockingly enough, also voted for her. Azuri also voted for Ivy, mostly out of spite for Orchid for turning her opponents into frogs just to squash them. Melissa, intrigued by Ivy's alchemic expertise enough to make the Valentine sword Mineta, who preferred the most scantily purple-clad, large-breasted dominatrix Aizawa for Ivy's greater capture and binding methods, and Aoyama, stating it's for her flair, but Izuku frowned, sensing there was more to his choice behind the slight frown Aoyama had. But the returning lustful burn of mysterious origin distracted him enough to leave it be. Orchid's voters, however, listed for Miruko and Bakugo, who liked the assassin's incredibly martial arts and badassery. Izuku, also for her martial arts skill, green attire, impressive feats like defeating Idol, Shoto, for Orchid's pyrokinetic abilities and felt connected via their shared history of needing a helping hand to help set them right, Kaminari, who liked Orchid's more curvaceous tight figure and death-inflicting cannons. Mina, liking Orchid, flexibility and acrobatic combat. May, for her lightsaber-like Tunfa's edge shot, finding Orchid's feats and skills more impressive than Ivy's. And Mount Lady and Pixie Bob, the two voting of spite, the former seeing Ivy a lot like her UA teacher rival and the latter for her ageless beauty. Rin, Ojiro, and Itsuka all also voted for Orchid, preferring the more martial arts-oriented fighter. Multiversal counterparts detected, the device stated. Ivy Valentine, multiversal counterpart. Namuri Kayama aka Midnight. I knew it, Mount Lady exclaimed, pointing accusingly at the screen and Midnight. It was like looking into a mirror. And a gorgeous mirror if I do say so myself. Midnight bragged, posing seductively, while Mount Lady fumed and began another argument with the UA teacher. Setsuna, watching all go down, perked up, a metaphorical light bulb turning on over her head. She detached her mouth and whispered something into a sisterhood girl's ears, all of whom nodded, agreeing and confirming to Setsuna's idea. Black Orchid, multiversal counterpart. Kanat Sustami aka Lady Nagant. Well, that's like the third time this bitch has got a counterpart in a row. Miruko exclaimed, confused. What is this? It's like Midoriya's lucky counterpart streak all over again. Nizu meanwhile frowned at the third counterpart to the infamous former hero. Reviewing the information about Orchid in his head, Nizu frowned harder as he connected the dots. An assassin that was betrayed and disavowed by her former allies. Nizu thought, recalling and comparing Orchid's history with Sustami's other counterparts, Kitana as betrayed by her adopted father, Shao Kahn, and appeared to work for the warlord as an assassin, and Strider Maria being used by a sect of Strider program and then tossed out to be killed by her own brother, whose counterpart was Hawks, who just so happened to be another government-sponsored hero of the Heroic Public Safety Commission that raised up Lady Nagant as well. There is something clearly fishy about this, and this all but confirms my suspicions. Nizu thought these three individuals share too many similar traits in history, which points to their fourth having a similar history. An assassin of some sort, possible via her incredible skill, that was eventually turned on by her former employers, the HPSC, for going against their directive. And here I thought my opinion of them couldn't get any lower. Nizu tried to keep his growl contained. It would appear that I need a conversation with a certain number 2 pro and begin advancing my plans for reorganizing or dismantling this corrupt organization. Additional multiversal counterpart detected. Ergo. Multiversal counterpart. Izuku Midoriya. I think you may have jinxed the kid mentioning his counterpart streak. Ryukyu smirked at Miruko. Izuku smiled to see that he had another frankly heroic counterpart, and with a family bond and caring relationship with Lady Nagant's counterpart. Izuku wondered if he were a hero sooner and closer acquainted with Nagant, if he could have pulled her from committing her crime and keep her being the awesome hero he always admired her to be. Dismissing those thoughts for a later time, the video unpaused and played the fight. The video began with Ivy standing in the middle of a large flat, white, circular platform atop a large body of water. Well, that's certainly a unique stage for a fight, Power Loader said. Just a large platform in the middle of the ocean. Can you imagine how cool it would be if they fought whilst in the middle of a storm? Mike envisioned the scene in his head with awe. Yeah, right up until a large wave would wash down out to sea. Aizawa muttered darkly. You're no fun sometimes, man. Mike pouted. The sounds of a helicopter were heard in the background before Orchid jumped down onto the stage. Ivy leaps backward and yelled, "Get lost!" Fight. Orchid started with 2 tonfa blasts at Ivy, who slashed them apart with a valentine. Ivy followed up by whipping out her sword forward, the bladed whip striking from long range on Orchid, who quickly blocked them with her tonfa. It's clear that Ivy has the long-range advantage, Snipe commented. Her whip can strike physically from afar, she's likely to have long-range spells to use, and her sword can be useful in slashing away Orchid's own limited long-range attacks. Ivy launched another strike, this one a downward piercing strike, only for Orchid to use Firecat to phase through it and lunge towards Ivy. Her Firecat is transparent, and so she used it to get in closer towards Ivy. Endeavor nodded in approval of her tactics. Orchid proceeded to unleash a devastating combo, starting with an upward kick to stun Ivy, followed by a follow-up roundhouse kick to the face, a kick to her shins and face again, before finishing in a fiery skyward knee strike, knocking Ivy into the air. Jesus, she just went ham on her. Kaminari gaped, amazed by her vicious combo. While Ivy has the greater range, Orchid looks like have the better speed and close quarters prowess. Ryukyu noted. And the moment she catches you off guard could lead you open to such a killer combo. All combos should be killers. Miruko replied. Maybe not actually kill them, but a combo is supposed to unleash as much brutal damage that it can guarantee your opponent won't get back up. While he didn't have a notebook like the stupid nerd, Bakugu made sure to make a note of that advice in his mind. Master combo, an announcer voice declared as before Ivy hit the ground. She bounced off from another tonfa blast from Orchid before landing. Ivy recovered in time to block an aerial kick by Orchid, catching her off guard and strike with a swing from Valentine, stunning the assassin while shedding blood. Ivy followed with a combo of her own, with another slash of her sword before sending flying with a kick. After kicking Orchid away, Ivy launched Valentine forward, ensnaring the mid-air combatant and tugging her back down to the ground. Orchid was placed onto her knees, choking via the bladed whip, holding her by the throat with it, while Ivy put her foot on her. "Does it hurt?" Ivy taunted. My, I see more and more why she and I are counterparts." Midnight licked her lip. "We both have thing with showing our foes their place." Mineta shivered, though not from arousal, oddly enough. Instead, his shiver was of remembering fright. specifically his final exam with Zero against Midnight, and how he had to run or get whipped by the sadistic teacher he fought against. While finding the choking rather excessive, Deku made notes of Ivy's use of Valentine as a constricting and ensnaring tool for his work on Black Whip. Orchid shifted into Firecat again to break free from her hold and move back. Smart, Satsuna said. She used that Firecat of hers to escape from that hold rather than attack. Ivy launched Valentine forwards again, but Orchid catches it instead with her tonfa, pulling Ivy towards her, then kicking her in the stomach, stunning the dominatrix. Classic don't be predictable move there, kids, Pixie Bob said. Orchid turned her back to the screen and unzipped the front of her jumpsuit. Oh shit, Zero exclaimed. She's going to flash her boobs at her. And thank God that she turned away from us. Kirishima wiped an arm on his forehead. Wait, wouldn't Ivy not die from that? Tetsu questioned. Or does Orchid just want Ivy to quit the fight or make her mad enough to not notice another combo attack? Orchid unleashed her heart attack no mercy on Ivy, the background turning white with flashing sounds made. However, Ivy remained unaffected and instead laughed. Ivy proceeded to rip open her bra off and flash her own boobs, the flash and sounds more brighter and louder. She was unaffected, Hagakure exclaimed. And she flashed at her too. Ah man, why couldn't we have seen hers? Mineta whined. Mineta received a wallop to the head, courtesy of Bakugu. You idiot! Bakugu yelled. Clearly, her jugs are larger than combo chicks and would kill you if you saw them. I mean, it wouldn't be worst way to die, right? Kaminari argued. Bakugu glared at Kaminari. I'm just saying. Orchid, struck in awe by her opponent's breast size, threw down her tonfa, groaning in frustration and jealousy. Same girl, same, Kyoka muttered, while Midoriya's subconscious comfort made her better. She could still be a little bitter and sympathize with the killer instinct fighter. Ivy used the opening to attack with several kicks and sword slashes, but Orchid broke the combo with 2 punches across her face. CCC combo breaker. The announcer voiced again. That announcer has a sick voice. Sun grinned. Makes me feel like I'm actually watching a fighting game. Orchid proceeded to unleash another string of kicks, punches, and fiery tonfa strikes before Ivy broke the combo, as well, catching Orchid's tonfa and fist with a valentine wrapped around them. Ivy struck Orchid into the air, and then used her alchemy, holding Orchid in mid-air by a series of alchemical circles and sigils. Ivy's finally using her alchemy, Reiko stated. And with Orchid captured, I'm expecting for a devastating attack to follow. Spread apart, Ivy declared, her hair standing up, Valentine breaking into several bladed pieces and a large alchemy circle forming behind her. Ivy's grand alchemy attack was unleashed, sending Valentine's pieces flying through Orchid with mystical energy. The attack finished, Orchid fell to the ground and got up, dazed and vulnerable. Oh no, is this it? Rin exclaimed, worried. Go on, you sexy hot dominatrix, Mineta exclaimed. Finish her. Is that it? Ivy taunted again, raising her sword into the air before sending Valentine through the ground to finish her opponent. Only for Orchid uses Firecat once more, the blade passing harmlessly through her, rushing to Ivy. She's not over yet. Suka grinned. I have a bad feeling about this. Midnight muttered, almost close to biting her nails. What followed when Orchid reached the British noble was then unleashes an uncountable number of kicks, punches, tonfa strikes, acrobatic flips, and airbuster attacks that brought Ivy up with her into the air, finishing with a final explosive mid-air kick from Orchid sending her away. Ultra Aya Kombu. The announcer roared as Orchid landed and fired her shocker spell before Ivy hit the ground, zapping with her bolts of electricity. Whew! The Orchid voters cheered, especially Mount Lady, Pixie Bob, Miruko, and Bakugu. Ivy landed on the ground, groaning and looked incapable of getting back up. Orchid walked up to the stunned Ivy, then transforms her into a frog with her tonfa. No, 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 no. Mineta yelled out in horror. Squish her. Bakugu and Miruko yelled out. Azui croaked in offense and turned away in a huff, already knowing what is going to happen. Orchid jumped up and landed on the frog, squashing the once beautiful woman turned frog into paste. Yeah! Orchid yelled out in victory. KO. The Black Orchid voters cheered in victory, leaving the Ivy voters groaning at their character's defeat, including Mineta wailing and yelling, "Oh, the humanity!" Frog Ivy's body was shown twitching before falling limp and dying. Ahahaha. Take that, Midnight. Mount Lady bragged towards her rival. Yeah, brag all you want, but I don't see you with a counterpart yet. Midnight bragged back. Yu Takayama's response was a middle finger before ensued another catfight. Meanwhile, Orchid stood atop a platform nearby. When Yago jumped behind her, Orchid turns around and used Heart Attack, presumably killing him as he falls off the platform into the water below, with Orchid huffing. Hey, that was mean! Nijire yelled in offense. Why did you have to kill your own brother like that? Much less my poor whittle Zuzu. Midoriya blushed scarlet at her nickname to him and her bone-crushing, face-smothering hug. He could feel the raging lust that kept at bay threatening to rise again. Heido! Momo whispered / yelled at Nijire, trying to non-verbally signal for her to cut it out. Oh shit, I forgot. Nijire thought, quickly remembering about the mixed-up aphrodisiac and how Midoriya most definitely was the one to have drunken it. Sorry, Zuzu. Nijire broke the hug. And no, it's fine. Izuku insisted, trying to calm back his nerves, while thinking back to his thoughts towards the girls and his question about what he felt for them. The answer to that was getting more and more clear to Midoriya, yet he still dared not to think it yet. However, his mind then replayed last night and his talk with Eri and what she thought about the girls liking him too. Given Nijire's affections as well as the others, Midoriya pondered another question. Do they like me too? I feel sorry for the guy that has to clean that up. Boomstick chuckled. Orchid's an unstoppable force. Her win against Idol proves her incredible fighting abilities. Wiz stated. 2,000 years ago, not even the most powerful armies in the world could take down Idol, and yet Orchid did so single-handedly. Oh shit! Cozy Eye blinked in surprise. Yeah, I guess taking down a 2,000-year-old army-slaying demon will show just how badass you are. But since Ivy's jugs are so wonderfully huge and ever-growing, Orchid's flashy finisher was meaningless. Boomstick 2 stated. Ivy's cup size is officially charted as G or quadruple D. Was analyzed, showing a lineup of increasingly large-breasted women with Ivy up front with the largest. By measuring Orchid's waist and chest to scale, it appears hers are sized F or triple D, one size smaller than Ivy's. Which showed the math and measurements of Orchid and Ivy. I cannot believe that they are seriously the science for this. Momo pinched the bridge of her nose. Booby science. Mina decided to poke the bear with her joke. An earphone jack pointed at her face made her shut up. Midoriya chuckled nervously at the scene, deciding that maybe he shouldn't bother to write this stuff down in his notebook. It was then Midoriya realized that the notebook he had in hand was suddenly gone. He looked to May and Melissa, who still had the first one, before looking around to see who could have taken it. A perverted chuckle was all the answer he needed. Mineta was quickly writing up the chest sizes of all the women on screen, making sure to even add extra details on their bazookas and curves, especially Ivy's. He ultimately stopped when a shadow fell over him. Mineta shakingly looked up to find Midoriya standing over him, arms crossed and glaring down a blank stare on him. After a few seconds of fearful anticipation, Midoriya held out one hand, flexing his fingers to hand over the book. Mineta, tremblingly and slowly, lifted the book up. Midoriya was quick to snatch it and gave the purple perv a light whack on the head with said notebook before walking back to his seat. Honestly, I think you got off easy because you added to his notebook, Kominari said. Midoriya sat back down, contemplating whether to even get rid of Mineta's drawings, but just decided to ignore them. The throbbing in his head back and didn't feel like even bothering. To be fair though, his drawings are really good. Izuku thought, remembering how Mineta, alongside himself and Yaoyorozu, were among the top of their art lessons with Midnight. Ah, I have an extra D I could have given her. Boomstick sighed, disappointed. A. Okay, that was a good one, but also B. Screw you, was Setsuna's response. Too late, was said. Besides, the fight ultimately came down to long-range versus short-range combat. While Orchid has no equivalent to Ivy's snake sword, her Firecat can get in close by passing through attacks. Wiz explained the results of the fight. And Tonfa are designed to block attacks and get in close. Boomstick explained as well. Once Orchid's in, there's no stopping her. Tell me about it, Rin muttered, still very impressed with Orchid's ultra combo. Plus, Ivy has no means of countering Orchid's transfigurations. Wiz continued. Even her link to Soul Edge is useless since it does not pertain to other magic. It was a good fight, but in the end, Ivy croaked. Boomstick punned. Haha. Kaminari laughed/memed. The winner is Black Orchid, Wiz announced. Claps of victory and begrudging congratulations sounded for the end of the video and fight. Is the video over? The group heard the door open, Mirio poking his head out and asked. My good pun senses were tingling. Every pun is a good pun to you, Mirio. Nijire replied. But yes, it's over, Nizu said. You can bring the kids back in. Uki dookie. Mirio nodded, quickly opening the door wider for Kuta and Eri to rush back in. Papa, is the video over already? Uri asked. Yep, it is, Deka replied. I still don't see why we had to go outside for that one. Kuta pouted, still mad. We'll tell you when you are older, Izuku responded, ruffling the kid's hair to his annoyance. Next time on Death Battle, Boomstick announced as the screen turned black. While the screen was black, epic retro tech music began to play as stars filled the screen, alongside 3 V-shaped white and blue spaceships. Suddenly, text appeared alongside a square with a talking fox. We're heading out, the fox humanoid radioed in. All aircraft report. Is that a talking fox? Toto asked. This is Peppy. Another text box and image were shown, this one with an old humanoid bunny, who was apparently named Peppy. Ha, and a talking rabbit. Maruko grinned. And from the looks of things, I think this is some kind of anthropomorphic animal world like that My Little Pony shit, but with cooler spaceships. Don't forget me. Another screen popped up with a humanoid toad speaking this time. Ribbit. Azui perked up at the sight of the toad. A fourth version of the 3 ships pulled up behind them. Slippy, what are you doing? A fourth screen popped up with a blue talking falcon yelling. Hurry up. Don't worry. The frog humanoid, now named Slippy, replied. Suddenly, a larger orange ship that looked similar to a submarine appeared behind the 4 of them, closer to the 4th, presumably belonging to Slippy. Attention all hands, battle stations. Another text box and video feed were shown, this one showing a green rabbit humanoid in an orange suit. Huh, the fox guy said, confused. The screen turned to black before the anthropomorphic fox and green rabbit were shown in greater detail, facing against each other. Fox McCloud versus Bucky O'Hare. Interesting, Nizu muttered, grinning in clear excitement for the next fight. Be sure to stretch for a bit before we begin. The group did as the principal instructed, standing up from their seats and stretching, some walking over to talk with other students, teachers, or pros. Midnight had stepped away from her argument with Mount Lady to stretch before she felt a hand tap her shoulder. The R-rated heroine turned to see it was Uraraka with a few of the girls, all of them nervous and guilty looking. Miss Midnight, can we talk to you for a moment? Uraraka asked.